In The Subtle Art, Mark Manson analyzes how humans gravitate toward good life concepts. He criticizes self-help advice that's neither practical nor beneficial and often leaves us feeling terrible since we feel alone in our inability to adopt such seemingly simple suggestions. For the no-nonsense seeker, he offers a fresh perspective. This book advises us to ditch positivity if we want a stress-free, happier life. Start by not trying to be happy. Struggles give life significance. We should care about some things, but only the ones that matter. We can only worry about so much, so select wisely. Happiness often leads to existential crises. Manson directly denounces how to be happy advice. Paradoxically, focusing on the good, what's better or who's better, keeps reminding us of what we're not. It also makes us question our shortcomings and what we should have been. No cheerful person needs to say she's happy in front of a mirror. The first painful truth is that striving to feel better all the time makes you less satisfied. Pursuing something only confirms your lack of it. Don't chase happiness since it'll trap us in a life of sadness. We all have a special dilemma. Because we're taught from a young age that we're special, we all therefore think there is something special about us. This socio-cultural narrative about life and happiness creates a sense of entitlement. We need to feel wonderful all the time since we're unique snowflakes. We also expect exceptional treatment. We're special, so life's rules don't apply. We also want protection against discomfort such as failure, rejection, and hardship. However, hardship is essential to learning, growing, and being joyful. We need to recover perspective and let go of the pressure to be extraordinary. Remember that most of our lives will be boring and uninteresting, therefore what we do isn't important. Accepting this reality may be difficult, but it will help us breathe easier. We can quit compensating and feel better. When our expectations meet reality, we value simple things like spending time with friends, helping others, solving issues, and doing what we love. Overcaring traps us in the feedback loop from hell. Unfortunately, we can't not care because it's in our biology. We get into trouble when we obsess about trivial matters. When we don't meet unrealistic societal standards, we feel bad. This traps us in hell's feedback loop. How often do you visit Facebook or Instagram and see everyone you know having the best time in the universe? We feel inadequate. We think everyone is happy. Therefore, if we're not, then there is something wrong with us. This makes us feel guilty for feeling guilty. We may get furious over getting angry. The brain's feedback loop makes us concerned about being anxious, which increases our anxiety. Because technology offers unlimited choices and so much substance and information, there are innumerable triggers alerting us we may not measure up. We think we're bad and our lives are wrong. Being locked in the feedback loop from hell can create stress and neurosis. To stop the unending loop, we need to disconnect from the inconsequential and be more realistic. It's fine if life isn't perfect. We all struggle in life. How we see these issues is frequently the issue. Toxic self-help messages make us think life should always be easy. However, toxic positivity has created a generation that avoids adversity and negative feelings at all costs. We gain courage, tenacity, and resilience by facing our fears and concerns. Many find the most meaning in times of adversity. It won't always be smooth, so buckle up. Life is hard, no doubt. Care depends on what we consider worth fighting for. Instead of asking what we want, ask what we're willing to accept or fight for. Stop expecting a problem-free life. There is no such thing. Problems only change. You'll be happier if you define happiness as fixing problems instead of avoiding them. Another unpleasant truth is that we're not victims and must take responsibility. No matter your situation, you always have limitless alternatives. We can't control what occurs to us, but we can control how we react. Many of us feel like life is imposed on us. We often become victims, like William James. He was a 19th century American aristocrat. He had constant vomiting and excruciating back spasms as a child. He tried to become a painter but failed, so he switched to medicine but quit. His father mocked him for being untalented. William James found Charles Peirce's advice when he was almost suicidal. Peirce believes everyone should take full responsibility for their lives. James recognized he blamed his situation on his father's criticism and his illness. He started over, empowered by this insight. William James pioneered American psychology after years of hard work. Thus, worrying about unimportant and uncontrollable things is pointless. Most people avoid danger because they're terrified of making mistakes or failing. Failure undermines our identity, changing our perception. We retreat from everything that threatens our identity. Many amateur authors and artists refuse to promote or sell their work. Because failing damages their identity, they're afraid no one will enjoy their work. Possible identities are fragile. We avoid taking risks and even trying because we're afraid of failing. Buddhism emphasizes that identity is illusory. We create your labels: happy, unhappy, successful, failed. Thus, they aren't real and shouldn't control our life. We must let go of our expectations and allow ourselves to fail and learn. Thomas Edison, inventor of the light bulb, purportedly claimed, "I have not failed 1,000 times. I found 1,000 methods not to manufacture a light bulb." Improvement is based on thousands of small failures. If someone is better than you at anything, it's likely because they failed more than you. Our lives are often defined by the times we don't care but behave anyhow. If you lack inspiration to make a major life change, act anything. Then use your reaction to that action to motivate yourself. The do something principle involves ignoring motivation in favor of action. Action inspires motivation, so it should come first. If you start with motivation, you'll likely get stuck again. Comparing is unpleasant. Dave Mustaine and Pete Best are two guitarists. When his band was rising to success in 1983, Mustaine was fired. He wanted to outperform his former bandmates out of anger. He joined a band and practiced hard. He formed Megadeth. Megadeth sold 25 million records. This seems like a success story, right? No. Metallica's success was still his benchmark. This comparison to Metallica, one of the world's biggest bands, stole Mustaine's joy. Despite Megadeth's popularity, his measure of success and happiness was to outperform his former bandmates, which left him feeling disappointed. Pete Best, however, defined success and pleasure differently. Best, like Mustaine, was expelled from a promising band. It was the Beatles. Best first felt depressed as his bandmates achieved unprecedented success. Changing his outlook affected his values. He understood he desired a lovely family and a joyful home. He wanted to play music, but he didn't want success or failure to define him. Best returned to music, but for lesser-known bands, after refocusing. These anecdotes show that values matter more than success for lasting happiness. We must abandon low values and pursue those that make us happy and fulfilled. Creativity, generosity, and humility make us happy. Instead of chasing fame and success and wishing you were someone else, enjoy the now, because FOMO kills joy. Self-improvement involves prioritizing our ideals, choosing what matters, and caring about our choice. We care too much about everyone and everything. We need to stop expecting comfort and happiness. Adversity must be reframed. Adversity isn't wrong. Every struggle, annoyance, and dispute isn't a failure, personal slight, or betrayal. When we focus on being fulfilled and happy all the time and care too much about the wrong things, we get locked in our own feedback cycle from hell. This keeps us moving but never arriving. It's best to ignore unimportant and uncontrollable stuff. Instead, we should focus on reality-based ideals we can control and benefit society. We are what we fight for and care about.